ladies and gentlemen. Some of you may have been in attendance when I joined Toastmasters roughly 12 months ago, but it was probably a month or two into coming to the meetings that I plucked up the courage to do my first speech entitled Why I Joined Toastmasters. So I don't know how this particular revisiting to that topic compares, but I would certainly like to think I'd become a little bit more confident. And one of the reasons that I joined Toastmasters was to become more confident in terms of standing up in front of a room full of people and being able to deliver, I suppose, words, thoughts, opinions, attitudes, and generally speaking, sharing my could be memories, could be ideas, but in particular, it wasn't just about confidence. I'd attended business networking meetings in the morning as part of my work in sort of sales and working for an IT company. And I joined networking organisations in Limerick and in Ennis. And the nature of the meeting was that they'd go around the table with all 60 seconds to introduce themselves to one another. So I'd be driving in the car on the way out and rehearsing my speech on the way, which it went completely out the window as soon as I was required to stand up in front of everybody, and I'd pretty much lost what I was going to say. As I was driving along in the car, it went very smoothly, and I wasn't in any way nervous. I was quite confident as I was driving along on my own. So at first I could feel my knees knocking under the table as they gradually moved towards me around the table in the morning networking meetings. But usually the topic was fairly safe, you know. I'm Carl.J. I'm looking for customers. How you can help me today is a referral for an SME that's using Sage CAD software, or some variation on this particular thing. And it was pretty much same. When I suppose I undertook the writing of my first book, which I brought along with me here, by all means, feel free to have a look and pass around. It's entitled The Fox and the Scorpion Meet Cold Turkey, if I may. Thanks so much. The issues that were, I suppose, key to my personal story, my experience, were men's mental health awareness. So the book was about taking up a mindfulness practice to help deal with addiction, depression, lack of self-love, victimhood, and lack of self-esteem, really. But it was like I was asleep for years. I wasn't even aware, I wasn't even conscious that all this stuff was going on until I started attending counselling around about 2016, 2017. So the book was written in a daily diary style narrative when I decided to do cold turkey on the fags and the booze. I've been smoking for 30 years, I've been drinking for 25 years, and I was in a bit of a rut. And I decided that there had to be something in life beyond being in an unhappy marriage and just being in a job that wasn't really floating my boat to pay a mortgage that we were indebted to the banks to. There had to be something more to life than this idea of somebody else's idea of what I should be doing with myself. So, cut a long story short, I went to a Buddhist centre in East Clare, and I attended regular yoga and meditation. I met with Buddhist monks that came from all over the world to lead us in meditation. And fast forward to 2020, in one of the topics, someone was asked about their goal for this year, and I was like, me, I want that one, because I set a goal for this year to be able to help teach and facilitate meditation to people that were interested but afraid to ask, or they say, oh, that could be interesting, I might be interested in doing that, but that sounds a bit, I'll leave it. So I wanted to be able to put myself forward as a facilitator or as a teacher to introduce meditation to beginners. And I couldn't possibly be in a situation to do that now. I've just literally submitted a 6-week plan to Angel Times in Limerick, where I'm going to be hosting the regular meetings for the course. If I hadn't joined Toastmasters 12 months ago and been able to stand up in front of a room of people and get more confidence talking about mindfulness, talking about men's mental health awareness, and talking about, I suppose, issues that by and large get brushed under the carpet, or people feel uncomfortable actually talking about. So I guess it's my job more to focus on being telling the truth, being honest, than being popular. As I referred to myself in the blurb for the book, I was always a bit of a black sheep. Being a Man City supporter in Ireland, where everyone seems to support Man United and Liverpool, was my experience when I first came over. And yeah, I'm still a bit of a black sheep in that regard. But mindfulness meditation is not just the domain of the Buddhist, it's not just the domain of the monk, it's something which is accessible to every single one of us. And if I can share my story about moving through, whether it's drinking, smoking, the actual addiction isn't the issue. For a lot of us in adulthood, we have unresolved trauma from childhood that manifests in behaviour patterns like addiction in adulthood. And I want to be able to share my experience and my story to help bring healing and help to people that may be in a position to, I suppose, reflect on their own behaviour and how they can improve their lives. So without being lecturous, without being preachy, I wanted to join Toastmasters to get more confidence, being able to speak in front of people about the subjects in the book that were raised. And the event that we did last December, I'm involved in a startup company called Good Life Wellness that I've launched with my partner, and we sat in front of a room full of 35 people that work for a Limerick-based charity, and that was my first experience leading a 20-minute sitting meditation to people that were all sat there wondering. And to be able to do that and to pull it off, it went really well. And I guess for a lot of us, meditation might not be your thing, it doesn't have to be, but we all, at some stage in our lives, have to ask, well, why am I here? What am I doing? What's the purpose in life? What's going on? Who am I? What am I? And I was always sort of inclined to these more deeper kind of aspects and more sort of discovering or uncovering or recovering our true nature, which is basically to be peaceful and to be happy. A lot of us get caught up in other stuff that takes us away from that. So thankfully we're not timed. Timekeeping isn't my greatest thing in the world. But thanks for listening. I do at the moment look forward to publishing my 5th book this year, which again is a non-fiction narrative style tale of what I've been going through in my personal life, and by sharing that with people and being able to come forward as the sort of wounded healer, as the person that's gone through a lot of personal experience, to be able to help people with theirs. I didn't write any of my books to make money, but if someone wants to buy 1 million copies, then thank you very much indeed.